I served IIT Bombay for 42 years in the Department of Metallurgical Engineering and Material Science. Basically, I was a postgraduate physicist, postgraduate metallurgical engineer, and then PhD in ceramics. I had myself supervised 22 PhDs in engineering, 150 MTechs in engineering, and more than about 200 BTech projects. People are all settled abroad, some of them are professors, and so on. So, this proves my credentials as a scientist. But what happened? All these informations got shattered when I met Mr. Trivedi in 2007. Then one friend introduced me to Mr. Trivedi. He says they call him Guruji. Mr. Trivedi wanted to meet somebody who knows about physics, who can understand science, but who can respect spirituality. I said, okay, next to atoms, the ones which we can really see are small powder particles and also some organic solutions. So you do one thing, you bless these organic solutions and powder particles. I will investigate them by X-ray diffraction, infrared spectroscopy, ultraviolet spectroscopy, and so on. Then if there is any change, we'll take it from there. My God, it was shocking. It was shocking. We have done several thousands of experiments, and all these are characterized by X-ray diffraction, infrared spectroscopy, then mass spectroscopy, then your ultraviolet visible spectroscopy. Name any test which you talk. Even we didn't spare electron spin resonance. Even that we have done that. So when we did all, and surprisingly, everywhere there is a change. The first thing I noticed very interesting about Mr. Trivedi is he somehow generates a lot of heat in his body. He carries a water bottle which is virtually ice in water. And first thing I noticed is this ice is not floating. I just asked him, Mr. Trivedi, how is it the water you are carrying, the ice is sinking, it is not floating. Ice is less dense normally than water, so it has to float. So he said, I didn't notice it. I said, no, there must be some chemical bonds that are increasing the bonds between water molecules, water dipoles. Dipolar interaction is so stronger, the density of your ice is larger than water. This itself proves that there is some effect. So it started with that. Then later, when I started investigating, I found that the particles, for example, this hair is just one single hair width contains 10,000 atoms. Now, in these 10,000 atoms, that means an atom is 10 raised to minus 10 of a meter. In that 10 raised to minus 10 of a meter, you have several orbits of electrons, a central nucleus, and there are gaps in between them. If a little bit movement is there between two orbits, or between one orbit close to the nucleus, tremendous energy changes will be there. So that means if somebody can impart a little energy to atom, then all the atomic characteristics can change. What I found is, first I took a powder particle which is about 150 microns. When I measured its size, it changed to 50 microns, as if it is fractured. How can a 150 micron particle get fractured to 50 micron? Then we did experiments on metallic powders, ceramic powders, polymers, everywhere. It is consistent. The particles are getting fractured. Why particles should get fractured? Then we tried to investigate by X-ray. X-ray, normally people just determine the crystal structure and they be happy with that. But I didn't stop at that. From crystal structure, I calculated lattice constants and lattice volume and found lattice constant is changing, lattice volume is changing. From them, I have calculated atomic mass, atomic charge. Both of them are changing. So atomic mass is changing, atomic charge is changing. Then tell me which is not that is going to change in this universe. What you call DNA, you call leaf, you call anything, but there are atoms. There are atoms in the form of complex molecules which are very, very weak. So then I started wondering, why, what is happening here? So that means there must be some energy which these atoms are receiving. But I have experienced this, I have measured this, and also I have published in some journals. Three journals at least have accepted my results and with very good comments. At least 100 journals refused, who also are my friends, the editors of that also. So you can imagine that the scientific skepticism is so silly that we cannot understand what is there before us, what is happening. We are ready to believe in our God particle or so-called goddamn particle, which has got, one collision in 10 raised to 6, 1 million collisions will give us a small spike and immediately start jumping that there is a particle. 2 protons out of million protons. When they have collided, there was one small spike, and you say it is boson. Luckily, you called it as boson-like or similar to boson. But if you are ready to believe that, then why can't you believe this one? Mr. Trivedi was sitting in what you call 4 bungalows at Andheri. I was sitting at Palghar in a powder metallurgy plant. I kept 6 powders before me. Then we phoned Mr. Trivedi saying that powders are kept on table. Can you bless them? So he blessed them over long distance. And then afterwards we analyzed the sieve size distribution. Sieve size means, just as you sieve your wheat and atta, like that we sieve powders into various size fractions. All the size fractions have changed. So once again proves that powders are fractured. How he could do that for Palghar and Andheri? And similar thing he did from Canada to India. So now not only he could do all these things, that means clearly it shows that Mr. Trivedi emits a field which, for lack of information, we can call it biofield, because somehow US biofield is the accepted terminology. Gel chromatography, I could not experiment gel permeation chromatography because we did 3 polymers. By gel permeation chromatography, molecular weight has changed. How can it change? And I am not a chemist, but still, at least I can recognize the change. So like that, there are so many gas chromatographic results which I could not interpret. More than about 50 compounds have been interpreted. Thank you very much.